Hello everyone, this is Martin and welcome to another video. So today I want to show you a very cool extension for Burp Suite, and that extension is called Bounty Prompt. Now originally I think this was developed like for bug bounty hunters and using AI and things like this, but I find this extension incredibly useful for penetration testing as well. Right? So I'm going to show you how to install it and how to make it work and what kind of options you basically have in there. So you can read through this, like you can go through bountysecurity.ai, and then at the bottom of the page, they basically give you the link to the GitHub repo, which I have open here. And so it tells you like Bounty Prompt is an open source Burp Suite extension, and you can leverage the Burp AI. So if you remember, like a month ago or something, Burp released its AI features, and you can use you can leverage the LLM they provide you, or you can use Grok AI as well. So as you please, and there is loads of development going on in this extension. So there will be ChatGPT support and all kinds of stuff coming as well. But basically, so I highly encourage you like to use it like either with Burp AI. So if you want to use it with Burp AI, you need Burp Pro, right, for that. And if you don't have Burp Pro, you can basically do it as well with Grok. But then you need to get like an API key with Grok, which is free, but there's limitations to it and things like that, right? So I want to show you the extension real quick and a couple of live examples. So first and foremost, you will come over here and you go to your extensions, and then you simply download this from GitHub, right? Like, so you would say add, and then you point it to the jar file, and you can download it here. Here it basically plus one release. So this is the actual download. So you download the jar file, put it into a folder on your local machine, and then just add it to Burp, right? Once it's fired up, the interface will look like this. So you will have your prompts, you will have the prompts, and you can add them, you can edit them. So this is pretty cool, right? Like, so for example, let's just pick like API key, exposure detection, or something like this. So this is the system prompt, and then that's the actual user prompt along with the HTTP response. So it's analyzing the HTTP response, which is coming back from Burp, and then the user prompt is basically analyze this HTTP response for exposed API keys or tokens. This is useful particularly when you do stuff like when the response is fairly large and it's like 10,000 lines. Yeah, you can use the search feature and grab around, but this is much easier to do. So basically, once you install this, where this whole thing is being installed is locally on your machine, and there's like a folder which is created, which is called prompts, right? And then those are in JSON format, and you can modify them and stuff like that, right? Like you could look at the CSRF vulnerability assessment, for example, and then you see exactly, so this is in JSON format, but you see exactly what the system prompt is for this specific attack, and then basically the user prompt here as well. And super easy to use. So let me just show you like one real example how this could look like. So first of all, let's fire up a lab, right? Like let's fire one of the port trigger labs up, like the CSRF vulnerability with no defenses, just so that we get some traffic, and then I can show you how this actually plays out in the real world and how you can use this extension. So while this is loading, let's go through this real quick here. So you have your prompts. We already talked about this. You have your prompt output. So let's just clear this so we get a brand new screen. You have your config. So the config is the interesting part. If you don't specify anything here, it will basically not use Grok, right? Like, so if you want to use Grok, you basically need to put the API key in, and then you need to say which model you want to use. But if you leave this blank here, basically, then it's using by default on Burp Pro, it's using the Burp AI features, right? And so super easy like to configure. You can also specify that prompt directory, which I just shown you. That's the default one where it puts it. But if you want to put this somewhere else, feel free. And this is the output from the prompt basically, and that's basically it. So now we come over here and this has loaded now. Let's log into our account, and I'm just showing you like some basics here, like how to use this extension. So we are logging in Wiener Peter, and then we change the email address to one@one.com so that we create some traffic, and we can come over here, and this was our post request, right? Like, so this was our post request with our email. So what you can do now is you can right click, say extensions, bounty prompt, and then you choose Grok, which I haven't installed, right? Or Burp AI, but the prompts are the same, right? So for example, now we can do a CSRF vulnerability assessment because, well, we know already that this is the CSRF lab, and then we just say, okay. And now it's basically doing this, and then you can come over here, and then in the target tab, you already see that it went red, right? Like, so because it probably has found the CSRF vulnerability somewhere here. Yeah, CSRF vulnerability assessment. So it already tells you that there is a vulnerability because there's no CSRF token in this specific lab, right? But you can also come over here and say like, hey, I want to see the output. And then you see in the output, you see the detailed stuff, what was actually sent to the LLM. And so it sent the HTTP request and the response, and then this is basically the answer. But the nice thing is it pops up in here, right? Like, so much easier to find vulnerabilities. And then you could like take a generic request like this one, and then say, sorry, where is it here? Extensions, Burp bounty, blah, blah, blah. And then you say like, hey, analyze if there's any API key exposure in the response. And then you send this, you fire this over, and then you can come back over here again. And then after a while, it will basically say, well, none. It's already done it. So there was no API keys exposed or any tokens exposed in the response. But this is how you use it. So it's super useful in my opinion. I use it on a daily basis for pen testing. I am very excited about the prospect that you can have ChatGPT soon as well, like that you can actually then choose the models from them, and also DeepSeek will be supported soon. I don't know when they will release this, but keep an eye out on their GitHub repo and things like that. That's all for today. I hope this makes sense, and I will see you in the next video.